She's saying no, but
she's mad that she still can't even stand.
She's so wobbly.
Zhang Weili is furious.
She's upset. But 100%.
Oh, you know, they say it's the most wonderful time of the year. We are 10 days away from Christmas. Happy holidays, everyone. Welcome to a brand new edition of Axe Kick Picks, episode 74 on this beautiful Friday, December 15th, 2023. As always, I'm your host, D-Rock, and joining me from the golf capital of the world, beautiful South Carolina, Joey D. Joe, how you doing, kid?
Doing well. I've been ready for this show for a while now, been anticipating it, but I just want to let you know what other promotions are going on besides big UFC 296, Aries FC 18, Cage Warriors 165, LFA 173, Karate Combat 43, and Rise World Series finale all take place today, or if you would, midnight tonight. But hey, I'm considering it all happening today, and it's just chock full of fights, loaded weekend we have.
Hell yeah, loaded weekend. Headline by the last pay-per-view, last UFC card of the weekend, going down at lovely Las Vegas T-Mobile Arena, UFC 296. Covington Edwards. Put Covington in front. You like that? I switched it up a little bit.
Yeah.
No foreshadowing, but regardless, we have a great episode for you guys. We'll recap what was UFC Vegas 83 last week between Song Yadong and Chris Gutierrez. Damon Hanley, he put on a masterclass going up to 140. And yeah, we got some news towards the end. We got Jake Paul fight at towards the end of the show as well. I have a pick for you as well. And then Joey will end the show with some KSW with 10 seconds left. But Joe, let's start in the UFC. Song Yadong gets the unanimous decision over Chris Gutierrez. I won't say not the best fight, but he definitely dominated Chris Gutierrez. I don't really know what he was doing, if I'm being honest. Like Armanali, I don't know how to pronounce it, but
Eminari roll.
Eminari roll. Like, what was Chris Gutierrez doing out there?
Yeah, I just think he was just going for broke. I really don't think he had an answer for Song Yadong. He wasn't able to utilize the leg kicks as effective as he normally is. And that's his game. He kind of wants to stand and bang. He kind of wants to break you apart, but Song had the answers. Song's very durable. He was winning in all the exchanges on the feet. And then when it came to some grappling exchanges, he looked like the stronger guy. Song, I think, is a tremendous athlete. I don't know, there's something in the water in China, because between him and Weili Zhang, man, they're powerful. They're athletic. They're explosive. And their technique's just following right along with it. So I think it speaks more of Song Yadong's capability and that, like, he's really ready for a title shot. Not to say take anything away from Chris Gutierrez, but, Song at his age and where he's at, it's going to take a couple fights, guaranteed. But he's trending towards that. He's trending towards a title shot.
I do think he's one fighter away. He's sitting at number 7. Didn't really move in the bantamweight division rankings, just because I honestly think the win was good, but it wasn't impressive. He dominated, but Chris Gutierrez, he's 15th. Is he that good of an opponent? I don't know. I really don't think it puts him over the hype. Now, we got a lot of options for Song Yadong. Petr Yan, he came out afterwards on X. He put the yawning emoji because it was kind of a boring fight, if I'm being honest. But spinning it forward for Song Yadong, what do you do with him? Do you give him that Petr Yan fight? I wouldn't, just because that puts away the Figgy and Petr Yan fight, and I want to see that way more than Song Yadong and Petr Yan, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, man, I think that's kind of the fight we want to see as fans, and honestly, I think it would not hold up the division as much. Song fought back a little bit with Chris Gutierrez. I mean, I think you're gonna have not necessarily, like I was saying, a title eliminator fight, but does Umar Nurmagomedov have anybody lined up?
I mean, every time I hear his name, Joe, it deals with Corey Sandhagen, Petr Yan, Henry's. Like, it deals with the top of the top, and he's 14th. I mean, they can give him that, but I think that's a bad matchup for Song Yadong. If I'm being honest, I think Umar Nurmagomedov is the next best thing in the bantamweight division.
Yeah, that wrestling is such an X factor, man. I'm looking at the names here. You got Ricky Simone. He's coming off a loss, and Jonathan the Drag Martinez. Going from one leg kicker to the other, that might not be bad. You're trying to build up these guys, and granted, it's the, survival of the fittest, if you would, dog eat dog. Honestly, if you throw Song Yadong against Jonathan Martinez, that's a great fight. And, you're taking Song Yadong from a leg kicker from Chris Gutierrez to an even more effective leg kicker in Jonathan the Dragon Martinez to see if he can handle that. And if he does, then yeah, he's on his way, like I said. But if not, then you get, which I think is a bigger name. Song Yadong's a bigger name than Jonathan Martinez. But if Jonathan Martinez wins, he grows his name from that.
Yeah, should be very interesting moving forward what they do with Song Yadong, but a big step forward, still in the top 10 in that bantamweight division. But let's go to the co-main event. I think the night he owned the night. Khalil Roundtree Jr. I mean, he had Thanos. And it was so cool, calm, and collective. It felt like everything was moving in slow motion for him. And to be a veteran like Anthony Lionheart Smith, who came back and beat Ryan Spann after getting beat up in that fight and coming back and winning, I thought it was the biggest win of his career for Roundtree. That's 5 fights in a row. We need to get this guy in front of a fucking crowd. All of his fights have been at the Apex the last 5 fights. But what'd you think of Khalil Rountree's performance?
Yeah, do you think that may be a factor as to why he's so effective? Because he's such a nice guy. He's so calm, but damn, he turns on the viciousness. That's just a question I had for you. But, to rock Anthony Smith the way he did, and I think like round 1, it was slowly progressing towards that. You saw that it could have happened in round 2, but then round 3, man, that hurt. It looked like it hurt, I'll be honest. And Anthony Smith,
he's rocked him a couple times.
Yeah, Anthony Smith lives up to his name, Lionheart. But to do that to a guy like Anthony Smith, man, it speaks volumes to the power he possesses in his hands and just the capability. I think Khalil Roundtree is the real deal. 5-fight win streak, bro. I don't know what you do with the guy. I think he's right there as well. And that's why you had him in a co-main event slot, showcasing him there. But I agree. I concur. He's got to get in front of fans. I want to see how maybe he would react in front of that type of environment, because if you take me back to the time he was in front of an audience, he might have had a loss. Yeah. So,
I mean, his last 2 fights in front of a crowd got canceled. He was supposed to fight in Vancouver. Guy pulled out. He was supposed to fight in Austin a few weeks ago. Guy pulled out there. So he's had very unfortunate luck, but I do think he's 1 fight away. Don't know who that is. I mean, that light heavyweight division, you got obviously, and he's never called anyone out, but he did call out the champ, and he's never taken a shot in his UFC career. Those 2 are going to bang if they wind up facing each other, which, to be honest, I think he does need 1 more fight, but I wouldn't be mad or be upset if they were like, screw it, we're going to fast track you. Let's see. If you want the champ, here you go. I wouldn't mind Khalil Roundtree getting a title shot, if I'm being honest. I know we have Johnny Walker and Magomed Ankalaev fighting come January in 2024. I think that winner realistically will have the next shot at the champ. But other than that, you got Alexander Rakic. He's looking for an opponent next fight. Nikita Krylov. Jan Blachowicz is hurt. Yuri said he needs until March, so he's on the fence. Jamal Hill, he won't be ready till the summer.
Halil is ready. He's ready right now. And I think Poatan is probably the most ready to compared to anyone in that division. You mentioned Johnny Walker. He's got to fight Magomed. And going back to Halil, I think he's capable of winning. Poatan, it could be a great fight for him to defend his title. But Johnny Walker couldn't stumble Anthony Smith. Khalil Roundtree knocked him out. I mean, the sky's the limit for Khalil Roundtree.
100%. So I can't wait to see what they do with them. It'd be interesting if he took that short notice up in Canada next month. I think it'd be a good matchup for him, if I'm being honest, against
Rakic.
Yes, correct. So wouldn't mind him getting a title shot. But yeah, gracefully, and I'm glad he didn't. He didn't really go after Anthony Smith. He saw his eyes roll back. He didn't need to put any more effect on Anthony Smith. So shout out Khalil Roundtree Jr. getting performance of the night, $50K bonus as well.
Yeah, that was intimidating.
Yeah. Third fight, Nasrat Haqparast, performance of the night. First round KO. I did not see this coming, Joe. I mean, Jamie Malaki. My God, this guy has a granite chin, but Haqparast, I mean, he just put it on him early, a minute 44 in.
those
knocked
uppies
him
when he
out.
had the back of his head, he had the can opener, and he was just 20 unanswered shots, man. I think that's what it did. It just added up because, like you said, Malarkey's as tough as they come. He's got a chin of granite, and I wasn't expecting to put away. These guys normally fight to the judges, and I was expecting the decision either way. But Nasrat can knock out people. He could bang. So I think he's a threat, honestly. You know, we always joke, you know, he's the Kelvin Gastelum of the lightweight division. But I honestly think that he's, you know, he's capable of doing a lot of good. That 155-pound weight class is very interesting, being that it's so deep. He could fight back. You know, I don't know necessarily where he is in terms of the overall rankings. I don't even think he is ranked, but where he would line up in the top 25, top 30, I think you could be very flexible with Nasrat Haqparast, and I think he's game. I think he's willing to fight
100%.
back. And if you give him the chance to fight up, he may go and prove himself.
Shout out Morocco, too. Morocco has one in the lightweight division. Now, you mentioned that being one of the toughest weight classes, which I agree. I think it's 155 and 135. But 170, I mean, they got some fucking killers that are going to be on display this weekend. But what weight class do you think is the deepest and most talented?
Yeah, I would go to the 135-pound division in terms of the deepest. I feel like at any point, one of those 135-pounders could be champion. And I think that could play into the factor why. But you know I love my flyweights. I think 125 is one of the most entertaining divisions. Speed kills, and you can't teach speed.
No. Speaking of that flyweight division or the flyweight division, Timmy Elliott, kid.
Good call, man.
Woo! My boy, he gets the job done over Sumudarji. He moves into the top 10. Sumudarji goes down to number 13. But man, Timmy Elliott, man, what a fucking performance. He gets a submission win in round 1. It was nonstop for as long as the fight lasted. Tim Elliott was in control. Thoughts on Timmy Elliott?
Absolutely smothering, and I wasn't expecting it that early. Normally, as the fight goes on, he wears his opponents down and gets late finishes or just wins on the scorecards dominantly. But to get that first-round submission, he found a hole in Sumudarji's game, and he exploited it. Sumudarji wants to stand and bang, and that's where he's lost most of his fights, is via submission and some decision losses. So this was Tim Elliott. I was wrong. You were right. You are sharp, D.
Performance of the night. I'm glad Timmy Elliott got the 50K as well. And that's another guy where he is just game. Doesn't matter if it's short notice, if it's a full camp. And I hate to keep harping on his last fight before this one. He was up. He was up against Muhammad Makayev. So, you know, before he got submitted. But, you know, Timmy Elliott, I'm glad he's up in the top 10. And, you know, he'll fucking fight anyone.
He'll fight, I think, next month, honestly.
Yeah. And then let's talk about the robbery. I mean, this fight was the worst one in the book. I mean, split decision win for Andre Muniz, but let's be honest. I mean, you get two significant strikes in the third round, and 2 of the 3 judges give it to Andre Muniz. I mean, what are we watching? It was awful. Iron Turtle got robbed. There's nothing more to say. I mean, he'll be back with the belt. Don't worry. I mean, he's coming in that middleweight division, but I mean, my God, that was the worst fucking display of judging I've ever seen.
Yeah, that was a little shameful. You know, I hate to say that I did get that right, but you know, Iron Turtle did take a little bit of a hit on that one.
I mean, can we talk about the judging? I mean, how do you score the first round for Iron Turtle, but not the third? And then if you score the third round for Iron Turtle, how do you not give him the first? I mean, are we not on the same page? Like,
you know, there's that kind of thing where they go back and kind of like make up for their mistakes in the scoring. Like they, you know, obviously they're not into communication with other judges or anything, but I think there's some retrospection where they're like, damn, did I give that round wrong? Let me make up for it in the second round. Let me make up for it in the third round. You know what I mean?
It just can't happen, though.
It can't. And that's biased and based, like opinionated judging. And that's not what we need here. We need fair and unbiased, judging. So,
I mean, I think that's kind of what happened in the Valentina Alexa Grasso fight. I mean, giving that round to Alexa Grasso is just criminal. I love the girl, and I think she's a tremendous fighter, but like, that's criminal. You can't just be giving rounds to people when they don't deserve it. I mean, two significant strikes to 15. I thought where the criteria is damage. Am I wrong? Do I need to go to Las Vegas and like take these seminars?
Control, aggression, grappling, striking. So
I
man.
feel for the Iron Turtle, man. My boy had that fight.
He's there. I don't think his stock fell all too much. Andre Muniz needed that win, so I think he came prepared a little more than he has in his prior fights. So good on
Yes.
him. But yeah, that was a close one, man. That was tough.
Going in the prelims real quick, we were talking about flyweights. The kid from Japan,
Oh, my boy Tatsuro Tara. I told you was a lock.
bro, how isn't this guy in the top 15? He is a problem.
Fantastic, bro. I didn't expect a TKO finish, man. I honestly didn't. Carlos Hernandez is game as they come, durable. And there's some fights that I remember him having that, like, I was like, wait, did that actually happen? And he was on a win streak, and the fact that Tatsuro Tara looked like he didn't belong then, I think speaks volumes to the talent that this young dude has. Let's see, how old is he? He's like not even 21 yet.
Yeah, something.
No, he's 23. He's a little older, but still at his age and what he's capable of doing, man. 125, inject me some Tatsuro Tara, baby.
5-0 in the UFC now, under a minute in this fight, and he's just flat out dominating fighters. I don't understand how this kid isn't ranked, but I'm kind of shocked. I mean, after rankings came out on Tuesday, I thought it was at least going to be 15, but
I don't know how much that Carlos Hernandez win does,
Yeah.
even though it was as impressive as it is.
Mhm.
I'm seeing right now on some rankings, he's right outside the top 15. So, move him up a little, maybe fight him against, I hate to say Matt Schnell, but he's coming off a loss. He hasn't fought in a year. Dvorak's 3 straight losses. I mean, you're trying to get on the win column. That could be interesting. There's a lot to do here. Alan Nascimento missed his recent fight. He pulled out. There's a lot.
I mean, I know we'll find out some clarity because we got Ulanbekov and Cody Duran fighting in the flyweight. That's 15-12. So one of them's going to lose there. So maybe we'll see some clarity there. But overall, I thought it was a really good fight night. Last one at the Apex. How did you do overall, kid?
Oh man, it was a wonderful weekend for me. For UFC Vegas 83. Unfortunately, I gave out the Tiara play as a submission. So even though I said he was a lock, he won via KO TKO. So I missed that. And my overall record was 4-2. But hey, we did a live parlay in studio.
Nice.
And it hit plus 178 we had for you guys.
Had a boy. Yeah, I finished even 3-3 on the night. I mean, it could have went really, really well if they didn't rob my boy Iron Turtle. But other than that, I got the nice win with Timmy Elliott. Anthony Smith, I took a stab on there, but man, Khalil Roundtree was just amazing. And then I get the over 3.5 in the main event, and that was a no sweat one. Let's talk about in the Bay Area, Devin Haney goes up to 140 super lightweight and gets the belt. What a dominant performance against Regis Progress. Unanimous decision, 120-107 times 3. That's how I scored it. If I'm being honest, I thought Progress won the first round, but outside of that, we saw Devin Haney just take over the fight. And to be honest, I don't know how much you watched, Joe, but he looked like the bigger and faster fighter, and he was the fighter moving up to 140.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a handful for whoever he comes across next. And I'm hearing a lot of rumors that they're trying to set up the Tank Davis fight with Devin Haney. I just don't know how negotiations are going to work. They're both going to want to be the A side. You know, they're both going to want to be running from their promotion. They're going to want to make the most money out of it. And that's where we're going to have issues. And if another fight develops for either one of them, they may just take it because they want, like I said, be the A side. They want to make the most money. And sometimes they want to take the path of least resistance. But I do feel like boxing's trending in the right direction where they're going to give us the fights we want and the fights we deserve, especially now that they're definitely competing with the UFC. After what we saw with Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury, I think it kind of called in question how legitimate boxing is as a whole, as a sport. You cannot say that's not the truth because that's absolutely the truth, especially when you're not giving the people what they want. So if boxing's going to do right by us and do right by their own sport, one of the most legendary sports the world has ever seen, you give us the fights we want. Devin Haney versus Tank is a fight that should happen. Alexander Usyk versus Tyson Fury is already in stone. We got to see what happens with that. But I'm also thinking we need Bivol and Beterbiev. Canelo should have a fight coming up. We want to see these fights develop. And like you said, going back to the fight, it was a dominant performance. Haney dropped him. I think the only time Progress was threatening was in that first round. And he showed no danger after that. And so Devin Haney was just coasting.
31-0. I mean, Yeah, I think he has to fight. That's the fight we all want against Gervonta Davidson. I even heard Timofo Lopez at 140 as well. I don't know if I have the stomach for that, if I'm being honest. Yeah, it's a cool fight, but we all want to see that. I updated my rankings, if I'm being honest, kid,
All right.
for the boxing pound for
Pound
pound.
for pound.
Obviously, and to be honest, I will say this. Obviously, Terrence Crawford is number one, but my thing is, I could see in the future, maybe in a few fights, David Henley even moving up 147 and fighting Terrence Crawford. I mean, that is a
Wow.
sign me fucking up for 147, but 147, you have fucking killers.
Yes, a sneaky play, but to be honest with you, that to get to that fight with Bud, you
have
need
to go through Tank Davis. Though.
Absolutely. Tank Davis has to fight Devin Haney to get to that title.
So Terrence Crawford, obviously number one. I got Inoue at 2. I got Usyk at 3. I got Canelo at 4. Devin Haney I put at 5.
Wow.
I got Dmitry Bivol at 6. Shakur Stevenson at 7. Gervonta at 8. David Benavidez at 9, and then I got Timofo Lopez at 10.
Interesting. Yeah, not bad. You know, I would have to look back on my pound for pound rankings. Worst case scenario, everyone check in with 10 seconds left, and I'll go ahead and set up a pound for pound boxing ranking.
But we did hit on the unanimous decision for Devin Haney.
It was very chalky, but at least we gave you a right play.
Yeah, exactly. So overall,
we did say unanimously as well.
Yeah.
We did say that. So if there was a play for you to get the unanimous decision win, that might have been close to plus money.
100%. But we end the weekend 4-3 with the Devin Haney win via decision. So positive day. Looking forward to another big weekend in combat sports.
Before you get to the ad read, my friend, I did hit on that other parlay this past weekend. Yeah, but one fight night. I gave you those 3 favorites. And too chalky, but altogether it gave you minus 120 and it hit. So, you know, we had a really good weekend, my man.
Hell yeah. Let's keep the momentum going forward into one of the biggest cards of the weekend. Before we do, a quick word from our sponsor. We are brought to you each and every episode by Viva Tequila Seltzer. The most refreshing hard seltzer in the world. Is no wonder why Viva was voted number 1 hard seltzer in the world by San Francisco World Spirit Competition. With only 88 calories, 0 carbs, 0 sugar, and a light 4.5 ABV, Viva is the perfect drink for your post-game celebration, as it was created with that active lifestyle in mind. We flavor our tequila seltzer because flavor is the spice of life, and we like our drinks with just a kick, just like how we like our lives. Whether it's Huckleberry playing around a golf with the boys or an elderberry on Saturday watching UFC 296, it doesn't matter. Our favorites pair perfectly with that Artisanal Blanco tequila for that subtle and refreshing drink. Our belief here at Axe Cake Picks and at Viva is to live long, live well, and live it up. All right, Joe, we got a long night Saturday night, early prelims, 6:30 here on the East Coast. Prelims kick off at 8, and then the main card starts around 10 on pay-per-view. 2 fights, unfortunately. Rude Boy Randy Brown, he got called off. He got ill. Apparently, a bug's been going around the fighter hotel as well, which is what I heard. And then, unfortunately, one of the big ones on the main card, Ian Gary and Vicente Luque. Ian Gary came down with pneumonia. His son got sick as well, so it is very serious. So, unfortunately, 2 fights got canceled, but still a lot of action to get down on. And I'll kick it over to you, Joe. Take us away.
All right, we'll start with now the first fight of the evening. As you said, we lost Randy Rude Boy Brown and the King of Kung Fu, Muslim Skalikov. But now we have a replacement, Shamil Ghaziyev, taking on Martin Buday. Ghaziyev is a plus 110 dog coming from the Dana White Contender Series, and Martin Buday is a minus 130. I would say, to lean the fight not going the distance, that this fight would definitely end in there. Shamil has gone the distance only once in his pro career, and Martin Buday is a finisher. I don't have a play, but I would tell you guys to lean the fight to end inside the distance either way.
All right.
Let's go right into the next one. And man, OG of the UFC, Andre Touchy-Feely, man, he makes his return here, and he's taking on, it was like a prospect in Lucas Almeida. I think he's had a couple of rough outings, but he's coming off a win. Andre Feely's coming off a loss, and I got to tell you, Andre Feely has never lost back-to-back fights in his career. But there's always a first for something. So, baby, I'm taking Lucas Almeida to get the job done. He's a dog here in this spot, so I'll take him on the money line at plus 142. I do like him to get it done within the distance, but there's no need to, go that risky. I think just taking him straight up is worth the play. So I did that for the second fight to start us up, and let's get into the next one after that. And, man, I think this is a very interesting one because you got Tagir Ulanbekov taking on Cody Durden. And, man, if you look at Tagir Ulanbekov, only 2 losses in his career. He's a favorite at minus 170. Cody Durden, plus 150 dog. Tagir's only lost to good wrestlers. And what's Cody Durden? He's a dirty dick wrestler, my boy. He wrestles everyone to the dirt, and he has the finishing capability. He's got some good stranding, and you know how those flyweights go, man. Speed kills. I say it once again. It's absolute truth. And I think anything can happen in this, but I'll play the dog. The dogs are barking early. Give me Dirty Dick Durden plus 150 because I think we need something on the mic. And I think if you get him the mic, we're going to have some fireworks. So I'm hoping for that. All right, let's go right into the next fight here. I got an interesting one, my man. Oh, wow. I really like this fight. I think I'm going to watch this with a close eye because Casey King O'Neill, though she's coming off a loss, I really think she could be the future of the division. But she's taking on the queen of violence, Ariane Lipski. And Ariane Lipski's as game as they come. She really doesn't go to distance. She finishes a lot of her fights, or she's finished. She's kill or be killed, if you would. Right now, Lipski, plus 160 dog. King O'Neill, minus 185. D, I'm going to hand it to you. Where are you going in this one?
Give me my girl, King Casey O'Neill. I think this is a good bounce back spot for her, man. After losing her first loss in the UFC to Jennifer Maia, which was a fucking scrap of a fight. I love Casey O'Neill in this spot. I thought she would be a bigger favorite, honestly. If I'm being honest, I thought she'd be maybe almost a close 250 minus 300 favorite. But Lipski, she's on a little bit of a run. She's winning 3 of her last 4 fights. I just think Casey O'Neill is better everywhere. She's mean in there, and I think she gets the finish. So give me Casey O'Neill via inside the distance at plus 240.
I love that play, my man. And I know we talked about it, but you're gonna hate where I'm going with this one. Casey O'Neill, the first 2 fights of her amateur career, and I know this is going back, and I know it's amateur, but she was finished twice in both of those fights, back-to-back losses. Then she got it back on track. Something's telling me this could happen again. Like I said, with the viciousness of Ariane Lipski, kill or be killed, maybe she puts it to her. I'm going to take the dog again. I got 3 dogs early for you guys. Give me the Queen of Violence at plus 154 because I think she'll give Casey O'Neill some problems in there. But if Casey O'Neill winds up a dominant position, she can absolutely end the fight. So I like that we're on the opposite sides in this one. May the best man win, D.
Yes.
So at highly anticipating return of Brian Boom Kelleher takes on Cody No Love Garbrandt. Right now, I'm seeing odds. Obviously, Cody Garbrandt, a fan favorite. He's been in the game for a while, but don't sleep on Kelleher. He's been in the UFC since 2017. Garbrandt, minus 175 in the money line. Boom Kelleher, plus 170 dog. I'll give you my play. I'm going to take a prop in this one. Brian Kelleher is coming off the neck surgery. You don't play with the neck. Legend. It's so worrisome. But I got to go with Cody Garbrandt getting the KO victory in this one just because of that instance, I don't think surgery is coming off of them rather recent. I hit with the, Volk, had the elbow surgery, and I had Islam just coming off of that basis. It's a tough one for me because I really do like Brian Boom Kelleher, and I think, a local guy from us, he's a dog, man. He absolutely is. But how dare I take Cody Garbrandt via KO TKO? Right now I'm seeing it at plus 180. So, it's a little, a little doggish, if you would.
Yeah, give me the under 2.5. I do lean. Give me my boy Brian Boom Kelleher. I almost got to the window with him coming off neck surgery. What a fucking savage to be cleared this early and then to go and take a fight with Cody Garbrandt. I mean, you are fucking game, and I respect fighters like that. But yeah, official play under 2.5 at minus 110. I think both guys can get finishes. Cody still has a soft chin, if I'm being honest, and Brian
doesn't get knocked out.
Last 7 fights, 5 have come by knockout. 15 of his total UFCs, 10 haven't gone the distance. I think someone gets put. I like your play. I wouldn't touch Cody just because I think his chin is a little soft, but under 2.5, I think is a good play here. So under 2.5 at minus 110.
Sharp. Let's go to the next fight here. A lot of moving around with it, but in the next fight I see, I got Irene Aldana at a minus 185 favorite, taking on Cal Rosa, a plus 154 dog. I don't have a play in this one. I would lean the fight going the distance, but that is so chalked. I would stay away from it.
Yeah, no play for me either, kid.
Absolutely. Let's go right into the next one, which is now the featured prelim bout. And it's going to be between Alonzo Menifield, Atomic, taking on Dustin Jacoby, Hayek. And man, right now, Menifield is a big dog, plus 220, depending where you look. And Jacoby, minus 270 favorite. I think the odds are right, to be honest with you. I don't have a play. No, Alonzo Menifield does like to stand, but he showcased some wrestling. I just don't think it's all that good. And Dustin Jacoby has, resume with kickboxing. He is a stand-up guy. So I think it's a clash of styles. I think Menifield would have to wrestle, but I just don't know how effective it would be. I would stay away from this fight entirely because I really don't know what to expect in this one.
Yeah, so I'll touch it. Alonzo Menifield, one loss in his last 7 fights. He's big, powerful, but I do think he's limited, and Dustin Jacoby is just much better, in my opinion. I think he's a sniper on the feet. His movement is good. He has good cardio, and I think his leg kicks and distance will be the difference maker and a big problem for Alonzo Menifield. I think he puts him away. Give me Dustin Jacoby via inside the distance at plus 130.
Wow, possible submission as well.
Yeah.
Wow, Dr. Stoppage as well. I mean, there's so many options with there, especially if he's landing strikes. Man, he can hurt him. I was looking at the age. You'd think Alonzo Menifield was a little younger than he is, but he's actually older than Justin Jacoby. So I thought that was interesting to see.
Yeah.
But that'll do it for the prelims of UFC 296. We had early prelims. We have regular prelims. But right now, we get into the pay-per-view. We get into the main card. And as we said, we lost Ian Gary and Vicente Luque, which would have opened up the card. But, man, I'm excited for this one. I think it's a good replacement to move this fight up. Have Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell take on Josh Emmett. And Bryce Mitchell coming in on short notice is a heavy favorite. $2 favorite, minus 200, 220, depending where you find it. And Josh Emmett at a plus 180. Man, that's so tempting. I'm going to give you my play right off the rip.
Yeah.
Bryce Mitchell, the only ways he's lost is via submission, which is actually interesting to see. Even in his amateur reign, he lost via submission. In his pro, he only lost via submission. Josh Emmett was submitted by Yair Rodriguez. So if you get submitted by Yair Rodriguez with a guy who's as gifted, talentedly, technically, and skillfully as Bryce Mitchell, I think a sub is live, but I just see that a 3-round fight could maybe get to the judges' scorecard. So I think the line's right, even though he's coming in on short notice. It's hard for me to take the 38-year-old Josh Emmett in this spot. But to get some chalk down, I went with Thug Nasty, double chance, sub or decision. It's minus 200. But that will be my first leg of my 2-leg parlay because I only got 2 plays going in together because they're a little chalked.
Yeah, so for me, Emmett, I think Ilya Topuria took years off of his life in his last fight. He's lost both of his fights this year, and now he gets a grappler in Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell. I think this is an interesting fight because, Josh Emmett does have a wrestling background, and we know what Bryce Mitchell wants to do in there. He wants to take you down, really backpack you, and really get you out of there. So I think this is the first time Mitchell, honestly, has taken a fight on short notice. He's typically a guy who waits, he's measured, but for him to take a fight on 10 days notice, he must be in shape. He must be ready to go out there and get the fight and take the fight over. I think Mitchell's the right side in this fight. I do think the line is correct. It's a little chalky. I wouldn't lay it with him maybe in a parlay. I think he takes Emmett down and kind of bullies him for 3 rounds, if I'm being honest. So we know how tough Emmett is. He doesn't usually get knocked out. I think this fight goes all 3 rounds. So give me Bryce Mitchell via decision at plus 110.
I love that, my man. Yeah, I was playing it safe, close to the chest. But, yeah, if you really feel like Josh Emmett's going to be able to survive in those exchanges, the decision play is live, super live. So let's go right into the next one. And, oh, man, I just know that there will be some tears shed from me, regardless of what happens. Something's telling me that this is going to be the last time we ever get to see Tony El Cucuy.
No.
I know everyone's saying that. He with the win, I guess you could pause and say, there's still, 5 fights in a title and Blazing Shades back, man. But, man, I don't know, man. The thing with David Goggins, I really feel like this is his last hurrah. If he puts away a rising star like Paddy Pimblett, what better way to retire on top like that, man? In the way that only Tony Ferguson can. So right now he's obviously a huge dog, plus 250. and Patty Pimlet's a minus 300 favorite. I'm taking on my verdict predictions, Tony Ferguson to win in the first round, but I don't have an official play because I want to just watch the fight and enjoy it. So there will be tears shed, but I'll hand it off to you, man. Let me hear the play you have. Break my heart.
One last time, give me our boy Tony fucking Ferguson. We will stand and die on the hill with Tony Ferguson. If he goes out there and cuts this little boy up and finishes him, the scenes at the T-Mobile Arena will be epic. I can't wait. Even when he walks out, I can't wait. I think this camp really helped him mentally. I know everyone talks about David Goggins, and everyone should respect what David Goggins does in this world. It's more conditioning and for his mental. We obviously know he wasn't training, grappling, and striking with David Goggins. That's not what it was about. It's for his mental. For him to go through it, he is going to be in his corner. I think the preparation is going to take care of himself, you know, and now fighting Paddy Pimblett, coming off surgery, coming off a year layoff where he didn't really look the best, if we're being honest. I don't know. I really don't know how much it's going to help him. I know Paddy Pimblett in the press conference didn't really look right. If I'm being honest, I was talking to you off air on it, and I just think this is just a different. I know the last couple fights haven't gone his way, but I just think mentally he's going to be all there. He's visualized a win, and I don't think we've seen the last of Tony Ferguson. I think this is his start to his bounce back, but I got to ride with our boy one last time. Give me Tony Ferguson plus 310.
Woo! Let's go to dogs, baby. Yo, Tony Ferguson, all-time favorite fighter of mine, and I just wish him the best.
Man, what could have been? You know, he tripped over the wire. What could have been? We never got that fight with Khabib.
You know, that could have affected it. You know, everyone says that, hey, man, you know, we saw how the 6 losses did and how would he have wound up with Khabib, but that's not Tony in his prime, you know? Like, at that time, the only threat to Khabib's title was Tony Ferguson.
100%.
I'm so upset that we never got to see that fight, and it will go down in history as one of the fights that should have been. You know,
he's your favorite fighter's favorite fighter.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, your favorite fighter's favorite fighter is Tony Ferguson. So, let's get into what would be the featured bout of the main card, and that is Shavkat Rakhmonov, massive favorite, a minus 700. I'm seeing some places as he takes on Wonderboy Stephen Thompson, big dog, plus 550 in some books, man. And, you know, I got a sneaky play for you. I'm going to give it out real quick. I got the fight to go to distance at plus 165. You know, Stephen Thompson is a puzzle to figure out. You know, if it stands, you know, Shavkat's shown some head movement. People were saying that he doesn't really have head movement. No, he does. The Jeff Neal fight showed he does. But to go against the, you know, side stance Stephen Thompson with that lead leg who could just pick you apart with that, I don't think people are expecting that Stephen Thompson is ready and willing to fight. He was supposed to fight against Michel Pereira. He made weight. He was ready to go, and Michel Pereira wasn't professional. See, Wonderboy's been wanting to fight. He's ready to fight. This is a wonderful opportunity for him and for Shavkat. But I feel like he can go either way when it gets to the judges' scorecards. We may witness a robbery, especially if Wonderboy does what I said and picks him apart in the feet, but Shavkat has some moments and then winds up winning on the scorecards. That'll be his first fight ever going to distance. So, like I said, sneaky play. It's not favored that'll do so. But I think any side, you get a decision win on this one. Fight to go to distance, plus 165 is my official play.
Yeah, Shavkat Rakhmonov, huge favorite, like you mentioned, in this fight. And for good reason, you know, in his last fight against Jeff Neal, he solidified. He does have a solid chin. He'll be fighting in your face. The pressure is insane. But one area in that fight that I did notice that you did touch on, he is very hittable. The movement I didn't really see, if I'm being honest. So I think I disagree on that point. I do think he is very hittable. And now he's fighting a guy like Wonderboy who can fight and identify and just pick you apart. And it won't never been submitted, you know, and I think he could identify where to strike. It might be a long night for him if he winds up wanting to stand with Wonderboy. And Wonderboy's speed is still there. He's not a powerful striker, but definitely a precise one. And I don't think he's on the downhill. I know he's 40 years old, but he looks like a 32-year-old out there. He's one of my favorite fighters on the roster. And I got to take another huge dog here. I think it's a tricky striker who is tough enough, and I think he makes it challenging for Rachmanov. So give me Wonder Boy plus 550, baby.
I love it, bro. Wonder Boy is also one of my all-time favorite fighters. I absolutely love the guy. I think he's an outstanding citizen. He is a role model for so many people.
And down there in South Carolina.
Yeah, he's right up, he's upstate karate, him and his father. I just love everything that they do. They're, like I said, model citizens. Someone you should aspire to be, because he is the NMF, the nicest motherfucker.
How far is that from down by Myrtle?
3 hours, but that's worth the ride. If you get to go and train with the Thompsons, I'll do it.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Absolutely. So I'm glad we got to talk about that. Let's get right into the co-main event, which I think is going to be an absolute barn burner between these two, because they fought before and Pantoja got the best of Royval. But, Royval was in it, man. I really think he was close, but Pantoja is the real deal. So I do think the line is right, being that he's a minus 200 favorite on some books, and Royval, Raw Dog, if you would, is a plus 160 on some.
Great nickname.
Yeah, great nickname. One of the best in the UFC.
Can't always go Raw Dog, but sometimes you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm honestly going to hand it over to you. Who you got in the co-main event of UFC 296, D?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope Pantoja walks out to Many Men, because if he does, it's going to be electric. Coming out to Many Men by 50 Cent, it just gives me chills just thinking about it. But give me the champ, and still, I agree. I think it's going to be an amazing electric fight. Like you said, we saw this fight 2 years ago. Pantoja got the job done in the second round. And because of that and the way both of these fighters fight, I'm going to try and thread the needle here. And I'm also going to take under 2.5 rounds at minus 130. Brandon Royval is just chaotic in the cage. He's chaos. 8 of his last 9 fights have hit under 2.5 rounds. Going to be a wild one, but I think Pantoja is the more skillful fighter. He has more ways to win, and I think he does put away Brandon Royval. Give me Alexander Pantoja on the money line, and I'll also take the under 2.5 rounds.
Yeah, he's also the more experienced fighter. Pantoja's been fighting for a long, long time. I've called, as far back as pre-pandemic, I was saying, man, Alexander Pantoja is a future champion, and he's one of my favorite fighters on the roster. This card is loaded with some of my favorite fighters of all time, and Pantoja is one of the most underrated fighters on the roster, and he's the champ, and this is absolute truth. So I made the post. Everyone who shouted out, thank you, because we know Alexander Pantoja comes to fight, but so does Brandon Royval. So I'm thinking, I agree with you. I like the under. Maybe if you want to play a little more, say maybe under 3.5. I don't know how much chalk you're going to get with minus 4.5, but I probably would stay away from that. But I'm going to go with a side, because I think Pantoja is the real deal. And I may be a little biased, but Pantoja inside the distance is minus 130. And that is my final leg of my 2-leg parlay. The 2-leg Jesus Saves parlay, because we got Doug Nasty and we got Alexander Pantoja. Both with those prop bets going together gives you plus 165. I think it's a lock. I really do. I'm glad we talked about that. Let's go right into the main event of UFC 296. D, real quick, man, what did you think at the press conference, bro?
I thought it was entertaining, to say the least.
You think it was a uniform?
Yeah, 1776. I was like, I mean, I don't even know the word. He sells. He sells. I don't think it's all fair in love and war. I think some of the things he does is cringy. Is he a good fighter? Yes. I'm not taking anything. The only losses he's had in his career are against one of the best welterweights in the world in Kamaru Usman. But he's just some cringy. Did he cross the line with Leon and his father? I think so. I mean, I wouldn't have done that, but he talks a lot for a guy who sues. That's what I would say. You know what I mean? Usually guys who talk a big game aren't the ones who go to the justice system, if I'm being honest. But, and I also didn't like the shot calling Stephen Wonderboy a pedo, but everything else, I guess, was fair and fun. I know he went after Ian Gary and his wife, but I liked the little back and forth with him and Tony.
Hey, he's just trying to draw eyes, man.
Yeah, I mean, he draws. He's going to sell. I do agree. Unfortunately, as the challenger, he probably is the A side. If I'm being honest, I think he sells most of he's having the biggest person in the world come sit cage side in Donald Trump. Let's be honest. So he's there for Colby Covington. He's not there for Leon Edwards.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it'd be tough for Donald Trump to see Leon get the
Oh my God, it
wrapped
would
around his
be,
waist.
it would be bad.
So that's why. Do you really think Donald Trump's going to show?
Oh yeah, I mean he's gonna be
The
there.
place is going to blow up when they see him.
Oh
That's
yeah,
just what happens.
hopefully he's there with his son Tucker Carlson, the whole
Ah,
crew.
Kid Rock again.
Yeah,
Hey,
and they did say he's not going to walk him out, Kobe Covington, but if he does win, they did say he will put the belt around Donald Trump will put the belt around him.
interesting, man. Interesting
Very
stuff.
interesting.
Yeah,
I'll
give you
go
the
first
odds.
though.
I'll give you the odds. Minus 162 right now for Leon, plus 136 for Covington.
And as much as, might be a disappointment to some if, Donald Trump goes there and gets to see the Englishman win, that's what's going to happen. Give me and still Leon Edwards on the money line. I think he's going to do a good job defending those takedowns. He's going to keep this fight standing and then possibly even put Colby away. I do think he has a striking advantage. I think his cardio is good enough to keep up and even outpace Colby Covington. We even saw his coach go on the MMA Hour and say, his wrestling is far better. He took down Kamaru Usman last fight. I think he could possibly take down Colby Covington.
That'd be amazing.
I think this is going to be a really good fight. Leon has never been finished. Give me and still Leon Rocky Edwards. And I'm also going to do a 2-leg money line parlay and still parlay. Give me Alexander Pantoja on the money line and Rocky Edwards on the money line. Combined 2-leg for plus 145.
Absolutely amazing, because I was going to say not just one, but 2 and stills, because Leon Rocky Edwards is just better everywhere. I think the only weapon that Colby has, because people are arguing that his wrestling's a weapon. I don't think that's the case. He wasn't able to really submit anybody, and he's really not able to secure takedowns and stay in dominant position. So his only weapon is cardio. I think Leon is one of the most athletic people on the roster. I know his physique says that, but the dude is a pure athlete, and I think his footwork's going to speak for itself. I think he's going to be picking Colby apart each and every round until it's finished in the 3rd round. Rocky has been my only lock. I told you 2 weeks ago, Leon Edwards is going to win this fight. I have him on the money line at minus 145 when I took him. I got him via KO TKO at plus 350 when I took that. And I got him a 3rd round KO TKO at plus 1,800, because I think the strikes are going to add up by that 3rd round. If he gets out of the 3rd round, expect to finish in the 4th. But I really don't think Colby's getting out of the 3rd round. I think after the antics that Colby did, that's why I asked about the press conference. I really think it lit a fire under Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards has got a point to prove, and he wants to defend his strap because he has another point to prove with the next fight as well. The guy who backed up way in. So I really think Leon has a mission, and he wants to prove it to everybody. He proved it when he beat Usman the first time. He proved it again when he beat him the 2nd time. I think he's going to continue proving everybody wrong. Give me Leon Rocky Edwards.
And like Leon said, man, I really hope he keeps that same energy, because at the end of the day, when they lock that cage, no one's going to help Colby. No one. So I hope he keeps that same energy. I hope it's an amazing card. Should be electric. I think the crowd's going to be electric at the T-Mobile Arena. And hopefully what's going to be electric is our bets. Joey, thank you so much. Going to be on the men for 3 weeks. The next card is about a month, maybe 3 weeks away. It's January 13th, back at the Apex. And
Johnny Walker and Magomed, right?
Exactly. So don't worry, we won't go on a hiatus. We still got episodes to pump out. But tonight, we'll shift over to boxing real quick. Tonight, main event probably around 11:30, 12, but the main card starts at 8:30 down at the Orlando, Florida. We got Jake Paul taking on Andre August. I mean, at a smaller arena, and honestly, hearing and reading articles in the boxing world, a lot of people, one, don't like this fight, and two, didn't even know about it. It's at a smaller arena. It's not going to be bigger than any of the influencer fights that he's had. Why do you think he's going this route and actually fighting a professional now?
I was going to say, isn't Andre August a professional boxer? The only thing that I've heard was that Jake Paul was talking to him. Now, I didn't even know this fight was happening until like yesterday when the weigh-ins and the face-offs. And then he was saying that, I dropped your coach. But I mean, how old is his coach? Who is his coach? Andre August is a professional boxer. He's more in his prime than ever. I think, Jake Paul's just trying to prove that he can box. But I don't have a play in this. I had no idea this was happening, but I'll give you some. I would take Andre August. I'll straight up.
Wow.
Yeah, I would take Andre August in this, man. Maybe to finish Jake Paul.
So right now, Jake Paul's a minus 850 favorite. Andre August plus 520. Over under on the total rounds is at 5.5. It's an 8-round. It's a 9-round fight.
Interesting.
Over. Yeah. I mean, this is it's obviously on the Zone Boxing. And to be honest, man, there's no way Jake Paul loses this fight, right? Like this fight, Jake Paul can't lose this fight. If he loses this fight, it's over. He's done. So, I mean, I got to take Jake Paul here. I mean, to win via decision is at minus 145. But I think August could be knocked out. You know, I don't think he's the shorter fighter. He's slower from the videos I've seen. He's slower. He's 35. He's nearly 10 years older than Jake Paul. And Jake Paul, say what you want about him, he has legitimate punching power, and he doesn't totally suck despite what everyone really thinks. So I don't really like Andre August, his footwork. I think he doesn't really have the power. So, you know, Andre August, he's the perfect fighter for Paul to knock out. And if he doesn't, it honestly is a disappointment, especially considering Paul hasn't had a knockdown in 2 years. So I think this is a fight to prove. Give me Jake Paul via KO, TKO at plus 194. I think he goes out there and he has to prove a point. And if he doesn't, he's done. Over. Yeah, he's done. Boxing's dead. No, I'm kidding. Jake Paul might be. But yeah, just wanted to say that is tonight. Excuse me. So main card starts at 8:30 on the Zone. Jake Paul fight will probably go around 11:30-ish, closer to midnight.
I'll be up all night. You know I'll be watching the Rise card. You know I'll be watching Karate Combat. You know me.
Hell yeah. Some quick news before we get to 10 seconds left, Joe. We got 3 fights announced for February 17th in Anaheim at 298. I'll rattle them off real quick. You tell me which one you love, which one you're looking forward to, which one's the most technical. We got Merab Dvalishvili taking on Henry Cejudo, 298, co-main event. Tai Tuivasa, return of him taking on Marcin Tybura. And we got my girl, future champ, Tatiana Suarez taking on game Amanda Lemos. Which one do you like the most?
I honestly, if you're asking technically, it might very well be the women's fight.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, she's going to have to utilize her game. She's shown improvements in the stand-up, but boy, is she a great wrestler. It can submit pretty much anyone on the planet. What would be the most exciting would probably be Marcin Tybura versus Tai Tuivasa. And, you know, honestly, I like that fight. The first fight you mentioned. What was it again?
Henry Cejudo and
yeah, how can I forget that? Because I feel like that's the title eliminator. You know, Henry could get right back in the picture with the win over Merab, but he's going to have his hands full with freaking Machine, bro. Merab is, I think, the champ. He's the uncrowned king. And, you know, if he wins this fight against Henry Cejudo, he's guaranteed a title shot. And I would favor him against either of the guys fighting at 299 in Miami. I really would. Merab's got the wrestling, and I think those are both their weaknesses, Cheeto and Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I'm looking for odds right now. No odds. The only odds we have is the main event between Alexander Volkanovski and Topuria right now. Minus 163 for the champ, Alexander Volkanovski, plus 154 for Ilia Topuria. But great fights. I can't wait for them. And I agree. I think that is a title eliminator. And imagine Henry Cejudo loses 2 in a row to both Longo guys.
Sarah Longo, baby.
I would love that. Another 3 fights announced for 299 in the 305 in Miami. Curtis Blades will take on Jail Time. And we got Matus Gamrot taking on RDA. I love this fight.
Yeah, I'm excited for that one, actually.
And Lauren Murphy taking on Karine Silva. Big fight in the flyweight division for the women. Which one are you? Because I love RDA fight.
Yeah, I love that the most. I mean, Karine Silva has been a killer as of late.
Yeah.
And go back to the first one again. I don't know. I keep losing the first one.
Curtis Blades in Jail Time.
Jail Time. I hope it's not a snoozer. That's the only thing I can say about that.
Yeah. And I think this is a big fight for going back to the women's flyweight. Big fight for Karine Silva at 13. She's taking on number 6, Lauren Murphy. I think this is a big opportunity for Karine Silva to get into the top 10 and
big age gap.
Yeah, big age gap, but I think she's game, man. So I can't wait for that. And then lastly, boxing news. Anthony Joshua, AJ will take on and Deontay Wilder. They have a deal in place to fight on the same night, March 9th in Saudi Arabia, if they both win on Christmas Eve. So it's going to go down. If they both win, they have a deal in place to fight each other on the same night on March night of UFC 299, Sean O'Malley, Chito Vera. So combat sports is on the rise. Do you like that they already have a deal in place if they both take care of business next week?
I don't understand what's going on with boxing and overlooking fights that are made, because we had the same overlook with Francis Ngannou, and look what happened there.
They got delayed now.
And now he's supposed to fight Usyk. They announced that prior to the fight, and now that got pushed back. So what happens if Otto Wallen knocks someone out? What if Joshua Parker knocks whoever out? I forgot who's Otto Wallen's fighting Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder's fighting Joshua Parker, right? So yeah, I mean, those two guys are their game, man. They only have one loss on each of their records, and Deontay Wilder's, he's lost, he's been knocked out. So I mean, he could knock out anybody on the planet, but man, you just don't look ahead, honestly. Like set up the fights that we talked about need to happen, and let's get all eyes on that. Let's do better marketing. Let's do better promotion, because the fight that should have had the best kind of didn't, which was that, crossover event between Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury.
And speaking of that, I'm glad you brought that up. This basically tells me, that Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury have a match or a fight scheduled and a rematch after Usyk. That's what it tells me. Because who else is Francis Ngannou going to fight now?
I mean, I had the idea that he would have fought Deontay Wilder, but now you
exactly
cleared that up.
So after Usyk, they have 2 fights already lined up, and they didn't even fight this one. So I agree with you. It's a little weird that they are already announcing these fights, that they have deals in place, but I think the biggest story is that it tells me that we have a rematch between Tyson Fury and Francis Ngannou, and I fucking can't wait. Because my man was robbed.
Yeah, he was robbed, but it will sell a lot better. But hey, boxing, do better.
Yeah. But that's all I got on the MMA news for the week. 10 seconds left. We're going to Poland, huh?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Before I mention my KSW 89 plays, Cage Thunder 25 Hall of Fame fights take place in the Canton Civic Center, where another one of my coaches, Jeremiah the Prophet Scott, fights. He's making his return to MMA after the bare knuckle debut, which he won. And man, he's taking on a tough fight for guy, but I'm taking Jeremiah in that because he is a killer. So I'll give you my KSW 89 plays, which takes place tomorrow, and it'll be taking place around the afternoon. Paweł Pawlak, reigning middleweight champion, takes on Polish MMA legend Mikhail Materla. And I think it's his time to shine. One more ride again. We're doing it all weekend long. Give me Materla as the huge dog of the weekend, plus 315. And in the main event, Saladin Parnas goes for 3 golds. I'm saying he is the featherweight champ. He is the lightweight champ. He is going to try and be the intermediate champ, the welterweight champ, if you would, for KSW against Adrian Bartosinski, who's undefeated. But give me Parnas plus 140, triple belt. MMA history will be made.
Joe, dogs are barking loud on all promotions. I fucking can't wait. Going to be a really good weekend. We got boxing. We got MMA. We got everything. We got Rise. We got LFA. Like you said, KSW. We got it all. Joe, lock and load this weekend. Good luck. Thank you so much. That's going to do it for this Friday edition of Axe Kick Picks. On behalf of our sponsor, Viva Tequila, Joey, I am D-Rock. We'll see you guys next week with plenty of picks, plenty of hot takes. Please follow along our social media, X and Instagram at Axe Kick Picks. You guys can find all of our episodes wherever you listen to podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. We go live every Friday on YouTube around 1:15-ish. Axe Picks live. Subscribe, hit that like button, rate, give us a review, leave a comment on who you guys are betting this week. All that good stuff really helps the show grow tremendously. So be a friend, tell a friend. Everyone, good luck on your wagers this weekend. Be safe, be well, and we'll see you guys down the road. Peace.